Hey everybody, welcome back to the Variety page. We're doing another one of our music discussions. If you like these, please subscribe, like us. We have a Facebook, it's gonna be down in the description. We have an Instagram that we post on. This week, Jimmy's not with me because...
Actually, no, I'm Jimmy. I just lost a lot of weight. I'm on a eating nothing diet right now.
That is also true for you, essentially. Jimmy basically said, I don't really know this band enough to talk about it, but Dan here, my brother,
yes,
if you haven't guessed that from the basically looking the same, me and him both...
Our hair's even, symmetrical.
We both really enjoy the band The Prodigy, and they came out with a new album this year for, the first time in, I believe, 5 years it was. The last one came out in, 2010, 2011, and I was like, yo, Dan, you want to talk about it on the show? So yeah.
So here I am.
Yeah. So Dan does some things. He does. He makes a webcomic.
Yes. I write a webcomic along with my friend Faith, who draws it, and also does writing as well. It's called Grace's Wings. You can find us at www.graceswings.com. No apostrophes, one word, all that. Basically, if you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you like Supernatural, it's right up your alley. If not, I don't know what to tell you.
I sometimes run their social media,
right.
And links to that are gonna be down in the description.
Whenever I'm too lazy to post new pages on Facebook.
And when I'm not in math class, because that's normally when you post.
Yeah.
All right, so this is The Prodigy. The Day Is My Enemy.
Right. New album, very, very long anticipated. They announced it. How long ago did they announce it?
I was in high school.
Jesus Christ.
I was in high school. It was around 2012, middle of the year when they announced it. I think I'd just graduated.
Now, back then, I guess it was still called How to Steal a Jet Fighter, or was there even a name for it yet?
They said we're coming out with an album, and then I guess during my freshman year of college in 2013 or so
is when Jet Fighter
is when they're like, all right, it's gonna be called How to Steal a Jet Fighter, and then the next year they're like, oh yeah, here's a song called Jet Fighter on it, and we're like, oh shit, and it was
the thing is that
it was a live recording.
Yeah, we never got I feel like we never got a full real version of it.
Because, they never released a demo. It was all just live versions.
Yeah,
played it live.
And it was always kind of mixed with another song. It would be I guess fading in or fading out with between two other songs. So we never did get a definitive version of that.
Yeah, we just kind of got bits and pieces from live shows, but it was a kick-ass song. So it was enough to get us excited. Right. Yeah, this is their 6th studio album. These guys have been making music since 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I only found them, I only really got into them, in the past, 5 years, though. But right now, I'd say, they're probably my favorite band that is, active right now. Of all time, I'd probably have to give it to Pendulum, but...
Yeah. Well, Pendulum's supposed to be coming out with a new album this year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're back together or something.
Supposedly.
Sorry, I dropped my water.
Stop fucking with the table. Anyway, holy shit, this album though.
Yeah, worth the wait, I'd say.
Yeah, the way I felt about it was kind of, I was tentative about it. And I was like, all right, this is cool. And then I was home on break when they first released Nasty. They played it on BBC Radio.
Yes.
You were watching a thing on YouTube. I was sitting on the couch, and I open up Twitter, and I see, hey, in 15 minutes we're going to be live on BBC Radio with a new single off the album.
And it was first single. This is the first time 15 and a half minutes ago, and you're oh!
It was just I looked at it in 15 minutes, and I looked at the tweet and said 16 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, Dan, whatever you're doing, turn it off now. Prodigy, BBC. I clicked the link.
I'm very glad we did, because you turned that shit on and it was
already playing, and it was it had only been 15 seconds in the song too. We were there. And I was like, oh yes. And it was I believe it was Nasty.
Yeah, that was the first one they released.
And then
I think it was that, The Day Is My Enemy, The Wild Frontier, then Wall of Death, and they just released the full album.
The Day Is My Enemy came out a couple days after. Not a couple days, a couple weeks after. It was 2 weeks after. Then we got Wild Frontier. And then we got Wall of Death.
Right.
And then...
Which was right before the album came out.
Between Wall of Death and the album actually coming out, though, I pre-ordered it at some point. I think after Days My Enemy came out, I pre-ordered it on Amazon, and every couple days, just a few more songs are just in my cloud. like
You're slowly getting the album.
like after Wall
Like,
of Death
out
came
of
out,
order.
like it was like that for a while, and then one day I just opened up my cloud and Rhythm Bomb and Ibiza were sitting in there. I'm like, all right, I'll listen to these. And I listen to them. I'm like, oh, these are pretty good songs.
Yeah, no, I basically like the 4 that we mentioned that they released like before the album came out. Those are the ones like those were the only ones that I heard before like I listened to the album proper.
Yeah,
I'd say.
It got to the point where I had 7 songs in my cloud out of the 14 in the whole album. So that was like, alright, I guess I have half the album. Like a week before the album was out, I had half of it. And then Sunday night, the album, like the day before the album, or it was like midnight on Sunday, so I guess it was Monday, like the day before the album came out, 29th.
Yeah.
I go down, I sit at my desktop, and Amazon's just like, oh, there were more songs in your cloud. I'm like, oh, okay. Click on it. Whole album's there.
So enough about bragging about how much of the album we heard before it came out.
I immediately sent it to you.
Yeah. Well, what did we think of it?
I really like it.
Yeah.
I have a few problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, oh my god, I really
there
like
is
this album.
there is I can not even off the top of my head, like if I really dug, I could probably find a few albums that I can listen to all the way through without skipping. But I don't know. I guess I'm kind of picky. So yeah, there's like 1 or 2 songs I'm like, But for the most part, this was a really really good album.
Yeah, I have a big problem with Beyond the Death Ray. It's not like it's more of a nitpicky thing.
Yeah,
But I feel like Beyond the Death Ray is basically an interlude that tried to be a song, and that just kind of annoys me.
I get like I remember like we were talking about this earlier, and you said your problem is like it's good, it's just way too long.
Yeah, for what
And
it is,
I don't
it's
know,
like
I don't
3.5 minutes, but it's just an interlude beat that happens over and over.
Yeah. I don't mind it that much. It's just nice,
it's nothing,
easier listening to.
Yeah.
Like most of the album, because I've been like, this has been like a super hectic week, so most of the album I had to listen to like in the car, and it's good driving music.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's fine, but Invisible Sun kind of has the same thing going for it, but it's
I would have
at
liked
least it's a
Invisible
little
Sun.
more interesting. At least.
I would have liked Invisible Sun a lot more if it was the outro.
But it
was like it was like the penultimate one right before Wall of Death.
Yeah, Wall of Death is the last song on the track. I actually think an album going out with a bang has a lot more to say for it than...
Okay, I guess it's just difference between us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Mm-hmm. I just feel like, that's got a little bit more of a... I'm just opening up the track list.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say. But... I mean, those songs, like, I is the kind of thing where it's like, when I listen to an album all the way through, it will kind of, like, irritate me. But I'm not gonna get pissed about it,
What I really liked about, like, this album personally is, the Prodigy is one of those bands that, like, it took them a while to sort of find, like, their noise. Like, to find, like, their style. Yeah. Like, Experience, it's alright, but it's just it's pretty generic ravey compared to like the other stuff.
Yeah. By the way, he knows a lot about their past stuff.
Yeah. No, like I said, I only got into them like a few years before, but like I listened to like a lot of.
I think you at least knew about them before Invaders Must Die.
Yeah, like obviously, Fat of the Land that's probably still going to be considered to be their best album. There was oh my god, I'm totally blanking on like the second album though.
I can look it up, but
it's not outnumbered.
Just keep talking.
Anyway, like their second album, which name escapes me right now. Like you definitely saw like their own sort of style like start emerging there. Like I'd say they defined it in second album, but their third one, Fat of the Land, that's where they like perfected it.
More music for the Jilted generation.
Oh, Jilted. Okay, it was Jilted. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Jilted is where they defined their sound. Fat of the Land's where they definitely perfected it. Then they basically since then they were trying to go into like different routes. Not so, not so successfully with Outnumbered. A little,
Yeah.
definitely a lot more with Invaders though.
Outnumbered.
And
Outnumbered had a
and I think this is the album.
One.
Like in this album, it feels like they're happy with where they got because a lot of different songs feel like a lot of different albums. Like
Yeah, I mean,
like what was it? Wild Frontier to me, it feels like an Invaders song. Ibiza sound and the other one I want to say was not Roadblocks.
yeah, Roadbox is like straight drum and bass. That's a little bit different.
Ibiza and I think Rebel Radio. I think those to me,
Yeah,
personally
yeah,
to me,
those-
those sound very Outnumbered to me, which isn't a bad thing. Like I know Outnumbered wasn't their most popular album, but it definitely has a few gems on there. And
I definitely know on Outnumbered, You Will Be Under My Wheels.
and there's definitely
I
like,
that
and
one.
there's definitely like a lot of their stuff sounds like Fat of the Land style, with especially Nasty is like I think
Yeah.
like the perfect of what I'm about to say. Like Fat of the Land style with Invaders energy, and that's literally all I was looking for with this album, and I'm so happy that I got it because that's what most of the album sounds like.
Yeah, if I would have to compare this to some indie shit that I normally listen to, it's like my favorite out. It's not like my favorite. It's like, but it's still really good. Like how Dissensus was with me for Circus Survive. Like it was like, oh well, it was definitely a lot better than Violent Waves, but I still like Blue Sky Noise and On Letting Go a lot better than it. But it's still really good, but it's not like my favorite thing that they've done. So I feel like that's how this album is. Like, there's definitely a lot of.
It's hard for me to rank.
Yeah, I mean,
like I don't know. It's hard for me to rank albums.
well, that's kind of like I feel that way a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like, there's albums that I'm definitely like, oh yeah, this is my favorite work that this band has definitely done. I mean, I don't listen to enough Prodigy to really say that.
Invaders was like my first like major experience with the Prodigy because like whenever I got into them, like that was the album that was like just out when I first got into them.
Yeah.
And what do you call it? Like obviously I got into them because I liked Invaders, but going to previous stuff, like going back to Fat of the Land, going back to Jilted, I could be like, oh, okay, I can see why people like these albums like so much as well. Like I can totally understand. So it's it's hard for me
Yeah, no,
because I
definitely
didn't go
get
like
that.
I didn't like experience them in order, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that with bands. A lot of the times, I just kind of stick with what I find first.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's definitely true about a lot of bands. But I definitely liked Invaders a lot, but I think this album as a whole, I liked a little bit more than Invaders.
Right.
Just because, I don't know, something about it just felt a little bit more cohesive to me. I don't know why. I can't really exactly say. Maybe I'll have to listen to Invaders again and then listen to this back. But it might just be that this is new and fresh in my head. But I'm definitely like solidly able to just put this album on and listen to it straight through.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like when I'm working and I know I just need something to put on and not be distracted and just kind of like not be like distracted with like changing music every couple minutes and whatnot. Good solid albums are always great for me.
Yeah, and this is definitely
And this is a good.
yeah. This is
solid
definitely an album I can probably listen to this all the way through.
Yeah. I mean,
If I couldn't if I couldn't skip any songs in it, I wouldn't feel bad about it.
yeah.
So
I mean, with me, I'd probably just end up skipping Beyond the Death Ray, but yeah, whatever. How about favorite songs?
Favorite songs, I'm gonna have to be a piece of shit sellout,
Yeah.
and like I don't want to say like oh I like the singles the best, but honestly, Nasty and Wild Frontier are like the two that really got to me. Because
Yeah.
Wild Frontier to me sounded like an Invaders song, sounded a little bit like a Pendulum song even, and Nasty was just literally that was the song I was looking for this album, and that was the first one they gave us, and like. If they literally only gave me that song, I'd just be like, perfect album, love it.
It's just that song 14 times. Just great.
Yeah, exactly. Roadblocks, we both really enjoyed that.
Roadbox might be my
Right.
favorite.
Right.
There's just something about just I don't know. It's recently I've been trying to find good drum and bass, and maybe I'm just not looking in the right spots, but I haven't found much that I've really enjoyed. And Roadblocks is like, you know, some good like drum and bass, nice vibe to it. And the other day I threw it on when I was like skating to class. I'm like, this is amazing skating music, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's just something about the energy in that song that I really like. Then I'd probably have to say like Day Is My Enemy. I don't know, just it's a good way to start the album, and that's
like for an outro song, it kicks the shit
Intro,
out
you mean?
of. Well, yeah, sorry.
Yes.
As an intro song, it kicks the shit out of a lot of like singles. I'd say.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
I mean, it was a single.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it would start the album. I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean, like at one point when it was like they started showing up in my cloud, then I was like, oh, okay, that's how the album's gonna start, and I was like, that's pretty cool. But hearing it in context of the whole album and it starting it, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely The Day Is My Enemy is a good way to kind of get the feel of the album as a whole, and I'm always happy when bands can do that properly.
Right.
Then I liked Rhythm Bomb. I don't know. It's hard for me to say top three,
yeah,
but like you mentioned, like all the singles and all the singles.
Rebel Radio, I also really enjoyed. Now,
Rebel Radio was alright.
Going to our differences of opinion.
Yeah.
We already mentioned how I like you don't like Beyond the Death Ray. I can understand why you don't like Beyond the Death Ray. I personally I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not my favorite song in the album, like far from it. But you really like Ibiza. I'm not really a fan.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, those were like Ibiza and I think Rebel Radio were the two that I felt like were the most like always outnumbered, never outgunned. And Ibiza for me is the one that like is the downside of that. Like I don't know, it's too random for me.
Okay. I mean, I always kind of thought of Prodigy being like very chaotic and stuff, so I
yeah,
guess it
but
doesn't.
like
the randomness doesn't really bother me as much.
Yeah, no, that's why I like very like trace amounts of dubstep. I say,
Yeah,
is because like not like this song is dubsteppy at all. It's just
this album's not really dubstep at all.
It's just the same principle. The kind of like chaos in my music I like is sort of a method to your madness kind of thing.
All right. I think the whole
like
point,
it sounds crazy, but when you actually like listen to it, it's like, oh wait, this is
you
actually
break it down, and there's actually like a really complex structure. Yeah. I don't know. I think just the point where he's just going, well, oh, shit, what is it? It's like, what's he fucking doing? Just over and over. I like that.
That's the part that I'm like, yeah, that's kind of
really. Oh,
yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
we're just difference of opinion.
Diametrically opposed. Yeah. On
I don't know what that means.
On that one song, just complete opposite. American political system.
Gotcha.
Joke at our own country's expense. Yeah. Still sad about Jet Fighter. Like.
Oh right,
the
fact that it was like just cut from the album.
I don't see. Here's the thing.
Okay, no. We'll get to the theory in a second. But the whole thing was the album used to be called "How to Steal a Jet Fighter."
It was the title track,
and Jet Fighter was the title track. And then they went in this other direction. And you had an interesting theory about this, which now you can.
I don't know if this is true. Like, it probably isn't. But, what song was it? I think it was Rockweiler?
Rockweiler, yeah.
Rockweiler.
Before the album came out, you thought that.
I was like going through, like, what songs have, like, the same amount of syllables as Jet Fighter? Does that song still exist? Is, like, could it be this? And I think just, if anything, it was scrapped and aspects of it were implemented for Rockweiler.
Yeah.
But I can't say for sure what happened to Jet Fighter.
There are definitely parts of Rockweiler that sound like what we heard of parts of Jet Fighter.
Yeah.
But since like we never heard like a studio version of the full song, we'll never really know for sure.
All we got was live versions.
Unless somebody asked in the AMA, which I totally forgot to read. I think that was like earlier this week.
Yeah. It was like the day after the album or something like that. When did I see that? I was sitting in studio when I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know. There's an anime with Liam, who is the Liam Howlett, I think.
Howlett.
Howlett.
I think it's Howlett.
Can't really say that. Yeah.
It's very British.
Yeah.
We're very
but
Irish, I guess.
He's pretty much the brains behind Prodigy. Like, normally, with me, I'm one of the fucking, like, indie kids and, like, alternative rock and stuff. And normally you see, like, frontmen of bands being, like, the singer. Or, like,
right.
the lead guitarist, singer, like, that kind of thing. Because they're the ones that are, like, writing all the songs, writing the lyrics. Because, like, they're playing guitar and singing and shit. And when I was in a band, that's how it was with us. Our frontman was our singer-guitarist. And I was just fucking playing bass. Just kind of there, I guess. And I don't know, that's just what I was used to.
So yeah, you just weren't used to the fact that the guy who doesn't sing in any songs, except for his little intro thing in Poison.
Yeah, I guess I'm just used to the fact of just seeing a singer being the lyricist, but in bands like Prodigy, they're not.
And like more like in electronically oriented bands,
they're not.
It's usually the guy who's making the beat boops. That's like the brains behind the whole operation.
I remember looking at the writing credits for all the songs,
right?
And just Liam Howlett, first name, every track, all the way down the album, and then Keith Flint, three writing credits.
He was the one who started it. I think
Maxim has 3 writing credits as well.
I think
there's not one song on that album where all 3 of the people that are technically in the band, Liam, Keith Flint, and Maxim,
like the core members at the very
least. Those are the 3 people that are credited as being members of the Prodigy, and then there's like a bunch of behind the scenes people, I guess. But there's not one song on this album that all 3 of them wrote, and I found that interesting. And it was kind of just like,
I know that. I can definitely understand why you would think that Keith Flint's like, why you would at least envision Keith Flint as like the front man. Like, he's definitely the most interesting looking of the dude. Looks like he escaped from a fucking carnival, and I love it.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Fucking dude looks like a crazy carnival.
Whereas, Maxim just plays up the whole like scary black man thing with like the tribal paint and shit.
Yeah.
And then Liam's just in the back on like his
fucking
machines.
Mixers and shit. Yeah.
Just but no, like the whole like it started with just him and it started with just Liam. Then Keith came in, and I think
Maxim came in a little bit later.
I think he was the third dude that joined, and there was like a 4th member for a while. I don't remember.
They had 2 people that are credited as dancers.
Right, I guess that's for live
back
shows.
In the early 90s.
Yeah.
Like 1990 to like 93 is like they're like maybe dancers shouldn't really be a thing.
Right.
That we credit as being part of our band. Or just like, we don't really
it's
need
like the guy in Slipknot who plays the beer keg.
Slipknot has way too many goddamn members.
Yeah.
As someone who actually occasionally listens to Slipknot and enjoys Slipknot, there's too many goddamn people.
No, exactly. Yeah, you don't.
There's no reason.
They have like what, 3 percussionists?
There's a drummer and 2 percussionists and a dude that does turntables that you can never hear.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is about Prodigy, by the way, not Slipknot.
Right. So back on track then.
I mean, there's really nothing else to say. I guess we got to everything that we.
Yeah. So, do you have any review for this, silly or otherwise? Because I'm gonna give it a nasty out of 10. The good kind.
Good kind of nasty. I'm gonna give it
like the surfer dude kind of like, dude, that was fucking nasty.
I'm gonna give it potentially psychotic Carney out of 10.
Creepy red fox that could turn people into other foxes out of 10. No, when we were looking for, like, when we were going on your crazy conspiracy theory of, like, who was Jet Fighter turned into a different
You're
song.
like, what's all the animals, man?
Yeah, no, because the whole album, like, it has the fox on the, like, the creepy little red fox sort of thing on the album cover, and it's sort of like the album mascot. It's in every single video. So I'm like, okay, and, like, in all the videos, it's all about, like, humans regressing back into some kind of animals.
Or animals taking over humanity.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. pretty much all the humans, or just all of them, I think, being hunters. So I'm like, all right, this is a very. They seem to be going for a very bestial theme. Maybe that's why they cut Jet Fighter to keep with the theme, but
whatever.
It might be Rock Wild or it might be dead. Who knows?
I'd give this song a decommissioned Jet Fighter out of 10. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.